Today's podcast is brought to you by Progresso Talent Partners, who for more than 25 years have successfully delivered interim and permanent leadership talent to transform businesses. To hire the talent you need to enable your business to thrive, visit www.progressotalent.com today. Hey listeners, welcome to another special edition of Extrology. Today we're diving deep into what it truly means to lead. This episode is all about leadership in action, highlighting extraordinary individuals who've not only led teams but inspired them, adapted through crisis and stayed true to their vision, even in the most challenging times. Expect therefore a journey that will take you through different approaches to leadership, from resilience and proactive management to empathy and culture-driven growth. Each of these 6 leaders has something powerful to teach us about leading with purpose, scaling with a vision, and making a real impact. So whether you're an aspiring leader, a seasoned executive, or simply fascinated by the stories of those who push boundaries, this episode has something in it for you. So without further ado, let's get into it. First up, we've Harry Bliss. Harry is the CEO and co-founder of Champion Health. At just 29 years old, Harry is not only leading a successful company, but he's also on a mission to revolutionize health and well-being. His leadership is shaped by deeply personal experiences. The loss of a friend and mentor inspired him to create a proactive health solution that saves lives by preventing crises before they happen. Let's hear from Harry on what drives his mission and what it means to lead with purpose.
I really want to be a household name that has an impact at the heart of it. That's the number one thing. We're always going to be mission driven, and I'm sure we'll get onto the story and the why behind Champion shortly. But the fire in my belly is to help people and to have an impact. And that truly is the case. Off the back of that, a lot of people say, shouldn't you be a charity? I'd say absolutely no. We're providing a service. We then deliver impact. Off the back of delivering impact, off the back of boosting well-being and performance within an organisation, we then deserve to generate a healthy amount of profit and to be able to grow the organisation going forwards. Just because we're in well-being, I really don't think we should be a charity. There are much worse organisations making money out there that aren't having a positive impact. So I want to be running this organisation as I go bold and as I go greyer going forwards. I want to be able to grow it and impact many lives in terms of our internal team. But I also want to hear more feedback, like I heard around 2 months ago, that one individual was struggling with suicidal thoughts and they got into expert services because of our platform that got them in there. And that's the why for me, is keeping people well, first of all, but how can we get people well that are struggling with musculoskeletal health, with mental health, with financial instability, for example. So I think that's my why. Money's secondary. It comes following achieving our mission and having an impact.
This part of Harry's story is inspiring because it shows us the true essence of visionary leadership. It's about being mission-driven. Harry's passion is tangible, and when you lead with that kind of purpose, it's felt by everyone around you, your team, your clients, your entire community.
There are so many things that we need to do to address it. There's not one sort of single solution within. One thing we need to do is to empower men to talk about their well-being. It's really interesting to look at in certain communities, the pub and churches, for example, if you're a Christian faith, are a place where men can go to talk about some of these issues. And although drinking huge amounts of alcohol, again, isn't a good thing for our mental health, it is a place where a lot of people go to really unwind and really have a conversation. So I think there need to be solutions that get people to open up naturally. We need to start the conversation. There are small tips that we can do as individuals ourselves for our friends, in terms of asking twice if people are okay. So if I was to ask you, are you okay, Lee? And you to go, yeah, I'm absolutely fine. But are you sure you're okay? Small things like that can have a huge impact in terms of getting people to open up going forwards. And there's a lot of talk as well. And this sounds a little bit fluffy, but it really isn't, because the biggest companies in the world are implementing it and they're seeing huge returns on their investment from it, is around developing psychologically safe spaces where people can make mistakes, where people can open up and just be human. We're not robots. We're not artificially intelligent. We need to be emotionally intelligent. And just having spaces and environments where people can open up and talk, I think, is a hugely important thing. And Google found that every single high-performing workplace that does that and develops a psychologically safe workplace then is high performing. It really was that simple in terms of their research. So they'd be a few things that I do. I think also access to NHS therapies needs to be more clear, but also we need to focus on prevention at the heart of it. At one point in James's life, he wasn't struggling with his mental health. How could we have supported him at that stage, as well as when he started experiencing suicidal thoughts and he slipped into crisis?
This proactive approach isn't just about health, it's also an incredibly powerful mindset for leadership. The best leaders anticipate challenges and address them before they escalate. Harry's message is a reminder that proactive leadership, both in business and well-being, can make all the difference. Next up, we have Chieu Cao, co-founder of Mintago and Perkbox, and a leader who is passionate about social impact and financial well-being. Chiu's journey is one of specialisation. He is consistently focused on improving people's lives through innovative employee benefits. Let's dive into how Chieu uses storytelling and specialised knowledge to build a meaningful vision.
My interest in technology kind of evolved very early on. It was actually in parallel because I really loved linguistics, but at the same time, I really liked technology. I think initially, I went into university. I went to Boston University, and I thought long and hard as to what I want my career to be. And at first I thought it was, language and linguistics. Then it was more of a hobby. I studied many years of Spanish. I really enjoyed that, but there wasn't much of a path for me. So I studied business administration and marketing. And I chose marketing because if it really suits my personality, it is a way. Great marketers are great storytellers. They communicate and they connect with people. And that was a natural bridge from my linguistic kind of desires. And then from there, I realized that, the best type of marketing at the time that I got really interested was digital marketing. And so my actual first job was with Amazon, real job that is. And so it was a combination of technology plus marketing. I was actually really fortunate to have started my career there, actually.
Chiu's approach to leadership emphasizes the human aspect. Telling the story behind the work is as important as the work itself. It's about getting your team and your audience on board, not just logically, but emotionally.
What I wanted to do is create another business that had social impact, something that really I can leave it, an impact on society, a legacy that I'm really proud of. And I did a bit of exploring. I realized, okay, what is it that I know that I do well, right? It's one thing to kind of fall in love with an idea. It's nothing to kind of really find an idea that you can execute, that there's a market need, that you can scale. So there's lots of different things that I've seen over my time that to create a great business, there's a difference between a hobby and creating a global business. Hobbies are things that make you happy, and there's that sort of constant desire to always make you feel good about it. Creating a great business doesn't always make you feel happy all the time because it's tough, it's hard. So when I looked at that, I realized that financial health and well-being is an area I want to be in because it impacts everyone's lives in ways that people don't even know. I think we're at the very cusp of that revolution.
Specialization has been key to Chiu's success. It's a reminder that honing in on a specific mission can allow you to create something truly impactful. Our next leader is Richard Bevan, CEO of the League Managers Association, who brings unique insights from the world of sports leadership. Richard's journey is one of coaching, mentorship, and instinctive decision-making. With leaders like Sir Alex Ferguson and Walter Smith as mentors, Richard has learned to adapt and thrive under pressure.
In the heat of a moment, a great leader has to think clearly enough to make those tactical changes. And sports people on the pitch and in the technical areas are doing that all the time. Whereas our business leaders tend to wait till they have all the information. The finance, the legals, the market, they want as much information as out there, and then they'll make their business decision. And COVID has forced our businesses, forced our communities, and forced our sports to make instinctive decisions with only half the information. So to me, the link between sport coaching, and business leaders is closer than ever before. And that's one of the reasons why the LMA's business school has 40 companies, major companies supporting it, as well as coaches and managers from 7 or 8 different sports. And that's something that is really important to how I view the strategy of where our organisations, be it cricket or football, should be going forward.
Richard's point here is powerful. Leadership is often about making decisions with limited information, about trusting your instincts and staying calm under pressure. This is a lesson that translates from the pitch to the boardroom.
And then if you look to sadly, we lost an amazing man in Walter Smith. And Walter would talk a lot about coaching being the golden thread of the game. And I think coaching or mentoring, another word that we hear more in business, is so important. In the LMA, we have 22 mentors, and we also train mentors in a year-long program. For myself, I have 3 mentors or 3 coaches I work with. And I think if we are always open to learning, always open to new ideas. John Coleman, the manager of Accrington Stanley, who used to be a school teacher many years ago, he enrolled on the LMA diploma in football management 2 years ago. And it's normally for young and up-and-coming managers. And I asked him, what would he most like to get from the course during the year? And he said, I'm here mainly, as well as to learn, but to meet the next coaches, to listen to new ideas. And I think perhaps sport does that a little bit more readily than other industries.
Richard's insights on coaching remind us that leadership is fundamentally about elevating others. Whether in sports or business, those who lead by empowering others leave the greatest legacy. Moving on, we have Greg Blazewicz, CEO of Sales Manago. Greg is a leader who transformed the perception of marketing from a cost center to a crucial driver of revenue. His focus on transformation, resilience, and growth is incredibly relevant to anyone interested in scaling a business effectively.
Actually, I accepted one role, and the next day I wasn't supposed not to be at work. I informed my CEO that I will not be at work, and I went on a plane to Prague to sign the agreement. And I went on a plane basically, and it turned out that my CEO is sitting next to me on the same plane, right? And well, that was not a very nice flight, to be honest, because the CEO, founder of that company, was quite straightforward to express his kind of feelings about all what's going on. So I made complete fool of myself. I went to Prague to this company. I told them I'm not signing the agreement. I came back the other day, the next day, and actually sat with that CEO and just really shared my concerns about, how I felt about marketing. And he said, so why can't we change this, right? And we started like a huge IT project of like building a new CRM internally for that company that would connect marketing with sales, right? And that project turned out to be extremely, extremely successful, which then gave me another promotion to that company, to be a CEO of another company and that group. I helped in selling that company to another business. The CEO made like big money, and I thought that maybe after that was like really already me being there 10 years. And I said, okay, so that I think that sort of looked like the end of very nice story already. And I felt really ready to go back to this entrepreneurial kind of thinking. And I set up my own business.
This mindset shift is such a crucial part of leadership, challenging the status quo and taking risks that lead to meaningful transformation.
I think that what I have learned that what basically, yesterday will not work tomorrow, right? So scaling the company is not just about, multiplying. It's never about just simply multiplying the stuff, that you were doing earlier, right? There has to be some transformation kind of part to this and redesign of the process.
Greg's story is a reminder that leadership is as much about resilience as it is about vision, especially when scaling a company through uncertain times. Next, we have Rich Stockdale, founder of Oxygen Conservation. Rich is a leader with a unique vision. He's on a mission to build the world's first conservation-focused unicorn. His leadership journey emphasizes the importance of cultural fit and staying true to a mission.
You have to find the culture fit that allows you to be excellent. And right now, when we're really fortunate that we have 50, 60 applicants for every role we put out there in oxygen conservation. And we really get to ask the person, are we the right fit for you? And are you the right fit for us? Because if you're not, you can't thrive there. I always think about, and for being someone who doesn't particularly like football, I have a lot of football analogies. Do you remember when Thierry Henry went to Barcelona?
Yes.
I heard the Barcelona team and him talk about how it was so difficult because he was incredible at Arsenal. And the runs he'd make at Arsenal, the Barcelona players were going, where's he going? Because it was so different to their system. I think the same is true as business. If you don't have the right culture fit, you can work really hard, you can be brilliant, but you won't thrive.
Rich's focus on cultural alignment is a reminder that growth isn't just about numbers. When the people you bring on board share the same passion and purpose, it creates a culture that drives sustainable growth. So what does success mean to you?
As a company, it is to really move the needle and have that impact, to scale conservation, to hit that. Ultimately, by 2030 in this country, we want 250,000 acres under management, which would give us the single largest conservation portfolio of management, would put us in the top 10 private landowners in the country, if not top 2 or 3. So that's in this country. And globally by 2030, imagine if I could come back and see you and say, we have 1 million acres under management that is being looked after for the good of the environment and the good of nature. Wouldn't that be an amazing thing to give to that next generation of exciting people we talked about and said, your turn, what can you do with it next?
Rich's story is inspiring because it's a testament to leadership that's driven by more than profit. It's about purpose and legacy. Finally, we've Connie Moser, who has spent decades leading in the healthcare and tech space. Connie's approach is one of resilience and empathy, leading through change and driving innovation in complex, often challenging environments.
I was in Chicago, office of one, running and leading these other 400 plus individuals. So your communication style has to be very individual. Then it has to come together and bring those individual people together as a group, and then lead through education. I am a very transparent leader, and I teach and I inform so they understand different areas of the business, almost trying to get them to walk in the shoes. So, for example, engineering, understanding service professionals understanding the operational side of the business, the operations understanding, and all of them understanding how we need to make decisions as leaders, giving a little more glimpse into that, not burdening them with all of the questions and concerns that come up as a leader or as a leadership team, but informing and educating them. So as they approach their other teammates, and that means teammates inside their development team, for example, but outside of that and across the organization, services, operations, sales, and the complexity of each of those areas and how they're run. It helps bring the team together.
Connie's emphasis on empathy reminds us that leadership isn't just about goals and metrics, it's also about people. The best leaders are those who adapt to the needs of their teams.
Navenio addresses workforce efficiency. Our primary market is healthcare, but this solution can assist with any level of workforce efficiency issue that exists across market sectors. So very simply, it's complexity made simple. If you think about the healthcare market and a patient in the center of that, and all of the services that need to be provided to a patient, there's a multitude. So it's not only the largest workforce in the world, it is one of the most complex around the patient and not around the patient. So safety issues, compliance issues, things like that. And our solution allows a nurse or a non-clinician that identifies a service need to request that need, and infrastructure free. So no beacons, no transmitters required in the health system. It takes the mobile device and Wi-Fi, and it allows you to request, just like Uber. It allows you to request that, and then the service provider, accepts the service request, and that nurse knows exactly when that service provider will hit the bedside, so the nurse can properly orchestrate care, so the nurse can properly prepare the patient. This improves patient experience because it improves nurse to patient communication. It improves collaboration across all of those service providers, clinician or non-clinician.
Connie's perspective on innovation highlights that leading change doesn't have to be about grand gestures. Incremental improvements are equally valuable, especially in a sector like healthcare. Today we've heard from 6 extraordinary leaders who bring a unique perspective on what it means to lead with vision and purpose. From Harry's mission-driven focus on health to Connie's empathetic leadership in healthcare, these stories showcase the wide range of qualities that make a great leader. Whether it's about being proactive, adapting through crisis, scaling with culture in mind, or leading with empathy, these lessons are invaluable for anyone on their own leadership journey. If you found inspiration today, I encourage you to explore the full episodes for each of these leaders. There's so much more wisdom waiting for you there. And as always, thank you for joining me on this journey. Let's continue to grow, inspire, and make an impact together. Remember, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who could benefit from these insights. And if you've ideas for future curated playlists, I'd love to hear from you. Let's keep the conversation going.
Just a reminder, today's podcast is brought to you by Progresso Talent Partners. Visit www.progressotalent.com today for more information.